Hi, my name is George Liu, and this is my story. I am an artist by day, and I'm ghostly by night. 2017, that's when things would start. Because January, I made my first website, and I made my first business card. I made my first logo, and I had a name for myself. It turned into Panda Numerique Designs, which is basically digital panda designs, the one-on-one in English. So I started using that. And it wasn't my first con. That would have been Forest State Poppin' Comic Con in Hagerstown, Maryland. I didn't do well because the only art I was making up till then was just furry art. I've been selling at that same con, Forest State Poppin' Comic Con, which now they also have a Harrisburg edition, since 2017. Only missed 2 years. One was when my mother died, and the other one was when we had COVID. But I realized as I'm starting to sell, people were not buying what I was making. I looked around at what the other artists were making. I was like, okay, let's try something else. So then that blossomed into adding some what I call humanizing art, which is my first actual real step into the comic book illustration world and illustrations. Stuff like making fun of comic books. That's funny. People get it. It's hot at the time, and then people will buy it. And that's kind of what I've been doing ever since. But now I'm slowly realizing I'm going to my dark side. And so let's try this new genre. I took it into my art. And then I started making like this horror pun art, like taking Edgar Allan Poe, still keeping it the furry theme, and turn Edgar Allan Poe to Raven Allan Poe, quote the Raven nevermore. Or taking Barney and turning Barney into Godzilla. He's destroying the city as he's screaming at the top of the lungs saying, I love you, you love me. If you don't love him back, your city will be destroyed, kind of aspect. Or the Teletubby with the ring girl slowly crawling out. That was my first introduction into this creepy pun art, and I absolutely loved it. When you combine everything that I've done over the years, from art to paintings, to selling at cons, to making music, to doing YouTube and making films, it all kind of ties together because I look at it through one of my most favorite artists. I shouldn't say that I'm obsessed. Yeah, I'm a little bit obsessed with him. Andy Warhol. He would state that everyone will be famous for about 15 minutes. So I have my 15 minutes of fame. Stuff happens, have more 15 minutes of fame, and then slowly people start noticing your work when you're selling at these cons. They want more. And I'm just like Andy Warhol, where I'm actually like a robot. I'm not silk screening, but I'm producing. I keep producing art because you have to keep up. The art world, especially when it comes to pulp culture, because that's what I call pop art, is you have to be what's happening here, then, and now. It's like with music. When I write music, it has to be here, then, and now. Because when it comes to like music and then like protest music, like politics, it's like one thing will happen today, so you have to write a song about that. But then 2 days later, that song's going to be irrelevant because now something else has happened. Now you have to write about that. And it's the kind of same in the art world. Like one thing will be popular now, so I make art of it. And I keep it in there. But then as the time goes, it's like, Oppenheimer is no longer popular. It was a one-time thing, so Oppenheimer goes out and I replace it with something else. Because I did weekend travels. I traveled all around talking about the history. I was like, well, let's try something different. Let's try something unique. Let's try something that's probably never been done before. And I said, let's try haunted travels. Well, that's where you're traveling to some of the most haunted towns, cities, and places throughout the United States, but maybe later throughout the world. And that place is, say, in Europe and Asia. But you're going to themed restaurants that are themed around, say, Harry Potter or horror or the paranormal. You're going to these buildings that have been there for decades, that are run down, that are haunted. You're going to these paranormal cons. You're talking about this industry we now call dark tourism. Here I am doing ghost tours and I'm helping his conventions. And my manager kept telling me, why don't you sell some of your stuff at this con? I'm like, no, I would feel bad because I'm volunteering, I'm helping out. I'm not here to make money. This is to help you guys. But they kept insisting. I didn't really sell, so what I did when I was at the Battlefield Bash, which is run by Pam Berry, a wonderful person. Shout out to Pam. But when I'm at the Battlefield Bash, we had a person who passed away. His name was Dan Revere, part of Nesper. May God rest his soul. But I made Dan pins, which basically you donate money, however much you want to donate to Dan Revere's family, and you got yourself a pin of Dan Rivera. We had Annabelle in Gettysburg at the orphanage. So I made limited edition Annabelle print and a pin and keychain. When I was up at Maine Paranormal and Horror, I was also repping Ghostly Images alongside my friends Black Lantern Paranormal. Well, Annabelle was there, so I'm like, let's do this again. So I did Annabelle round 2, where I made a limited edition t-shirt. I made a limited edition print. I had keychains. I had pins, and I had a sticker. Now, you're the face of Ghostly Images. In a way, you just go out there and you network. You try to get the next big thing to come to Gettysburg to investigate. You hand out the business cards. You hand out to people to take a ghost tour, but not only a ghost tour, take a history tour as well. Usually paranormal happens because of trauma. Usually paranormal happens because something happened or a person just died. But to know if a place is truly haunted or what truly happened here, you have to talk about the history. Art, you can't make that a career. Well, if you work hard enough, you can, because eventually I would love to have it as a career where I don't have to work a 9-to-5 job. But when you look at, everything as a whole as music, that's considered art too. You can't have art without music. And that literally saved my life growing up in high school. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for music, because it saved me. And it wouldn't be for, the paranormal, because this ties all together. And I look at myself, it's like all the pieces slowly come together and it's becoming whole and complete.